name is Shalair, and I am going to do my first story time on this channel. I've decided to make this channel all story times because I couldn't figure out what I really wanted to do. But after watching so many story times, I was like, man, I could do that. Like, I got a whole bunch of stories to tell. So, I want to start off by saying that I'm still recording videos on my phone. Granted, I've upgraded my phone now, so I don't have an Android anymore. But the quality is not going to be that great right now. And also, my lighting sucks right now. I'm still waiting for my lights to come from my other room. So right now I'm recording in my dining room. But whatever. This story is going to be about the time I got caught sneaking out of my dad's house. So, this is the story. So I used to always sneak out, and I wish I had my best friend here to tell the story with me, because every time I snuck out, it was to go to her house. We didn't do anything. I just wanted to get out the house. Like, I didn't want to stay inside. My dad made me come home before the street lights came on. Like, and that was in where I was living at, which was at the time in Illinois. Well, I still live in Illinois, but at the time it was in Maywood, Illinois, which is like right outside of Chicago. The street lights came on at like 5 o'clock, and I'm like, man, I'm still trying to be out here. What you talking about? So, so one night I snuck out. This particular night, I wasn't sneaking out to go to her house. I was sneaking out to go to a boy's house. And I didn't do that often. And when I snuck out, normally I was going to my best friend's house. But at this time, I was trying to be fast out there or whatever and go to a boy's house. So the boy called me at 10 o'clock. And I'm like, bro, my dad was wide awake. And like they had like 3 or 4 family members over. They were all drinking, playing cards, whatever. At the time, I was 16. Yeah, 16, because I was drinking at this time. So at the time I was 16, I snuck out the house, and it was 10:30. And I'm like, man, I don't think I can leave at 10:30. I'm like, man, can you just wait for a minute? Because normally this was all planned out. It was very strategic. I knew that at a certain time I can go out, and it was when my dad went upstairs to go watch the game or play the game or whatever. But as long as he wasn't downstairs active and had company, like he had whole company. So I'm like, the guy came out, he was outside of my house sitting there, and he was blowing up my phone. I'm outside of my house. I'm like, look, my dad is still woke. I can't come right now. He was like, come on, man, I'm not gonna be sitting out here waiting for you. And I'm like, man, like I can't go. Like I cannot go right now. Just wait. Just wait. And he's like, no, I'm finna start beeping the horn. I'm like, are you kidding me? Don't do that. So whatever, I ended up taking a whole bunch of pillows and I put them under my comforter, like under my my blanket or whatever, and I tried to like shape it like a body,
Really,
so, like,
nigga?
If my dad does come in, because normally if he comes in, he won't come in and like look at my face. He'll come in and make sure I'm asleep and then like leave. So I put the pillows and shaped like a body or whatever, but I did a horrible sloppy job because I was rushing to get out the window and leave and go to this guy's house. So I get to his house, and as soon as I get to his house, we start drinking or whatever. It was literally 15 minutes later, I get a call from my dad. I'm like, oh my gosh. He knows I'm gone. Well, like I am dead. Like I'm dead. My dad knows that I snuck out. I'm about to get in so much trouble. So I didn't answer the phone. I'm like, I'm not finna answer this. Bye. I'm finna turn up because I know this won't be my last time turning up. So I didn't answer. Then he had my uncle calling me. My uncle, like, this is my favorite uncle. Like, I never ignore his calls. Like, that's my favorite uncle. But I ignored him that night. So I ignored his call, all of his calls. He called me so many times. Then he had my aunt call me, my stepmom called me. All of them, all the people that were at my dad's house were calling, blowing up my phone. So I turned the phone off. I'm like, forget this. So tell me why me and the guy had got so drunk, and we were like driving. At first we were at his house, but then we left his house and we started driving around. Like, that's what people do in Chicago, I guess. They just drive and drink. Like, that's cool or whatever. But I didn't care because obviously I was doing the same thing, but I wasn't driving. He was. So we pulled over, and we had just like kept drinking, talking. Next thing you know, he's like really, really drunk. So he passes out. I'm in Chicago. Granted, I was used to being in Chicago, but I didn't know my way around there. I didn't know how to drive. I didn't have a license at this time. Nothing. So I was struck. I'm like, bro, like, how am I going to get home? And I didn't plan on going home. I was just going to go somewhere else. But how was I going to get there? I don't have no driver. So I'm like, are you kidding me? So I'm slapping his face like, wake up. He's like, I'm fine. I'm good.
Really,
good.
Nigga?
I'm good. You tripping, shorty. No, I'm not tripping. You slumped. Like, he was like really, really drunk. So I'm like, bro, like, what am I gonna do? Like, and so this whole time, his baby mama was blowing up his phone that I thought that they weren't together anymore because he lied to me and told me that they weren't. But that's another story. Anyways, he told me that he was single, and me and him have been talking for like 6 months. So like, the baby mama was blowing up his phone the whole night, and he kept on ignoring her calls, ignoring. So the final time when she called, I answered the phone because he was so drunk. He was like passed out in the driver's seat. So I answered the phone and I'm like, hello? And she's like, who the is this? And she was just going off of me, and I'm like, I'm only 16 years old, and we're in Chicago, and I don't know where I'm at. Like, I'm like, he's so drunk, he just passed out. Like, I'm like almost finna cry. I didn't cry, but I was like at the verge of tears. So the lady calmed down because she was like, she's like 26 years old. At the time, he was like 23, and I was 16. Anyways, so I was like, I don't know what to do. And she's like, where are you at? So then I had to get out the car. I had pajamas on, like some shorts and a t-shirt, and it was cold as heck outside. But I went outside and I walked to the what is it called? The street side. And I'm like, I'm on blah blah blah. So I told her the street names, and she's like, I'll be right there. So then she drove there. Come to find out, he had me in her car, and like she was so mad. She got the car. She's like, you got this little girl in my car, and I'm like, she was like, it's 2:00 in the morning, because it was like 2:00 in the morning by the time all of this surpassed. It was late. But like, she's like, it's 2:00 in the morning, you got this little girl in my car, and you this drunk. And the whole time he's not comprehending like what was going on because he was so drunk. So whatever, fast forward, I get in the car with her, and she's like, where am I taking you? And I'm really grateful that she even took me anywhere, because, you know, if I would have caught somebody with my man, you know, you ain't finna get no ride. But she understood that I was young, and, you know, they were grown, so she was the bigger person. So she was like, you know, where am I taking you? So I told her to take me to my grandma's house, because my grandma didn't know none of this was going on. She didn't know that I snuck out, nothing like that. So I get to my grandma's house. It was 3:00 in the morning by the time I get to my grandma's house. And so my grandma, when I get there, she's like, what you doing out this late? I was like, oh, nothing. I was just out with some friends, blah, blah, blah. So during all of this, the next morning, it was my great grandma's funeral. So it was, you know, obviously my grandma's mother. So like, I know that I put her like in a bad situation, because although at the time she didn't know what was going on, she was gonna find out at the funeral, because my dad was gonna be there and I was gonna have to go too. So we get to the funeral, and my dad, like, when he see me, he didn't like, he wasn't that mad because we were at the funeral, you know, things like that, you know. It calms him down, thank God. But we were at the funeral, and he's like, why did you sneak out last night? Like, he just, you know, blase. And I was like, oh, I just wanted to go hang with my friends and blah blah blah, whatever. I didn't end up getting in trouble, but yeah, that was a crazy story. But then, like, the day after the funeral, my grandma called me, because she finally found out all the stuff that had happened the night before, the night that I came to her house. And she calls me, and she's like, don't you ever sneak out and then come to my house after that? Are you crazy? She went off on me. What is wrong with you? Blase. I'm just sitting there like, it was 2 days ago. Like, okay, like calm down. But I listened to her obviously because I was obedient. But yeah, so that's pretty much the story of how I got caught sneaking out. So I don't recommend that anybody that lives with their parents sneaks out the house. Don't sneak out the house. Just ask your parents, can you go somewhere? If they say no, just stay in and tell your friends to Snapchat you about it. That is it. That is all. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thumbs up if you like it, thumbs down if you don't, and leave in the comments below if you like this story or if you have any stories about you getting caught sneaking out. I think that's about it.